and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. Welcome back to the final player ratings video of the 2019 to 2020 season. I have the honour for filling in for John today in one of the final videos of what has been a long and obviously abysmal season. Capped off in true Everton style, losing Ancelotti's unbeaten streak at home to a team who on the day before this game had the second worst away record in the whole league. We've obviously just gone and got beaten 3-1 by Bournemouth in Leighton Baines' potential last ever game in an Everton shirt. Very disappointing. So I'm just going to get this started here. Obviously, I think we're all ready for the break now, all ready for pre-season to start, and hopefully some good transfers. But I'll give you my ratings here of how I thought all of our players did. Starting off with Jordan Pickford. It was going well, to be fair. He pulled off a good save against Callum Wilson early on in the game, but then obviously third goal, Junior Stanislas skipped through the defence with ease. Comes up against Jordan Pickford, goes straight through his hands in a typical Jordan Pickford fashion. Another absolute howler, which he's been too frequent this season for most Everton fans. And I was going to give him like a 6. I've knocked him down to a 4 now. You can't be making mistakes like that at the level that he wants to play at. He wants to be England's number one. Obviously, the club is full of ambition for European football, but if you're taking a goalkeeper like that into European football or challenging at the top of the table, you're not going to get very far. He has to cut out those mistakes, and it'll be interesting to see whether goalkeeper is on the list of potential transfer targets. Second up, Seamus Coleman struggled all day against Josh King. Josh King obviously set up on the left, bullied Coleman all day before he got subbed off early into the second half. I've given him a 4. Very disappointing, to be honest. I thought he's been one of our better players since the restart and kind of the third centre-back when we played 5 at the back. We've changed back to a 4-2-3-1 in the last couple of games, and he's struggled today. Wasn't good enough, disappointing to see, but obviously, I mean, it's the last game of the season. All the players were kind of on the deck chairs. No one really cared that much, apart from obviously Keane, but we'll obviously get to him in a bit. Michael Keane, I'm giving him a 5. Didn't do a lot. Obviously, we kept persisting on playing out from the back, which is strange because Bournemouth were kind of pressing with 5 men up front. We were getting bullied. They kept winning the ball back high into our half. And it was disappointing to see, and obviously Keane suffers under pressure on the ball a lot. I'll give him a 5. Alongside him, obviously, Jarrod Brantway. I'm going to give him a 6 just because I think at one point he made one good tackle or something like that. Didn't have a lot to do again. The majority of the problems were kind of coming from the wings, where Seamus Coleman was really struggling, and obviously the midfield getting bypassed as usual, not giving any cover to the centre-backs. But Brantway, a really good end to the season for him. Obviously he's going to hope to potentially kick on next year. Maybe kind of saved us a couple of quid on a new centre-back that we might have thought we might have had to sign. Nothing special from him. Obviously the whole team played poorly. It's not going to reflect well on him. I don't want to put him down because he's been excellent since he's come into the side for the injured Mason Holgate. But nothing brilliant. Him and Keane, I'm giving them both 5s. On to Lucas Denier, didn't do much as well. I'm going to give him a 5. Quite poor. Obviously, he hasn't had the best season. Obviously, he put himself as one of the better left-backs in the league last year with his deliveries, with his free kicks and his corners. Struggled all season, struggled again today. Major weakness were our wings throughout the whole game. And Lucas Denier was no different. He fell victim to a lot of that, and not many good crosses. He tried one for Moise Keane, but it didn't really pay off. He was curling away from the goal. Moise Keane couldn't really get a powerful header on it. Next up, Andre Gomez struggled all game. No surprises there. Missed kind of the defensive presence. Also, he's in the energetic defensive midfielder. Giving him a 3. He was bypassed all day. He was misplacing all of his passes. A really, really poor performance again from Gomez. Hope he can have a break now. Try and get back to full fitness, obviously, from his horrific injury. But again, a really poor performance. When he was on the ball, he wasn't doing anything. And when he was off the ball, he wasn't contributing anything to the team or giving any cover to the centre-backs. And obviously his partner in crime, Tom Davies, I've given a 3 as well. Shocking performance again from Davies. Poor since the restart, poor all season. We have to recruit in central midfield. I think that's been obvious with our links at Allen and Højbjerg. Really, really poor from Tom Davies again. It's been so disappointing to see how he just hasn't improved all season. He doesn't fit into a 4-4-2. Now he doesn't fit into a 4-2-3-1. Another really poor performance, kind of capped off when under no pressure. in our half, just had to square it to Seamus Coleman, just whacks it out for a throw-in, which he's done far too many times this season. So 3 for both Gomez and Davies. A shocking centre midfield performance from both of them, but that's kind of what we've gotten used to, especially since the restart. Really, really poor. Walcott given a 4. Weak kind of final product, weak kind of final ball. Obviously, he did get an assist for Keane, but it wasn't a particularly difficult cross to put in. He's really lost it, Theo Walker. We're crying out for a right winger, especially since Iwobi's really struggled all season, especially since the restart, kind of having to adapt to the right-hand side of a 4-4-2. But this was Walcott in a 4-2-3-1, where he's meant to use his pace. He didn't look to get in behind, Bournemouth kind of high-flying fullbacks, as they often are. Rico, as good as he is going forwards, he does have defensive vulnerabilities. And Walcott didn't look to exploit that all day. Potentially a bit harsh giving him a 4, bear in mind he did get an assist, but you'd expect any right winger in his position really there to do that. So nothing really special for Walcott. Final ball lacking again. We desperately have to invest in a right winger. I think right winger and centre midfield are main priorities going into this window. Right back is obviously eventually going to be a priority with Coleman obviously getting exposed today. We've got John Joe Kenny come back and probably Sidibe's last game. I think it's unlikely we'll spend the 12 million on him. He's been poor all season, really. I can see why he was brought in. A loan option with a loan deal with an option to buy wasn't a bad deal, but obviously it hasn't kicked on at all. But obviously I'm focusing on Walcott here. Walcott gets a 4. The other side, Charleston, I'm going to give him a 5. I thought he was poor all day, really. Did his obviously he gets fouled a lot, but going down in the box when someone accidentally stood on his toe, it was embarrassing. It was a clear dive. I don't know what he was trying to win, really. And he was poor from start to finish. Doesn't really get involved as much on the left wing as he does kind of in 2 striker formations, like the 4-4-2 that we've played mainly under Ancelotti. Struggled today in the 4-2-3-1. Didn't have much going for him. Tried a couple of long-range shots that never really got anywhere, so I'm going to give him a 5 because he struggled. I hope that we do kind of stick with the 4-4-2. I think he's much better in a 2-striker formation, as is Calvert-Lewin going into next season, but we have to recruit in centre midfield if that's going to work. And speaking of another central midfielder, Gylfi Sigurdsson, giving him a 4, a fairly lacklustre performance. Maybe slightly better than Gomez and Davies, but obviously Sigurdsson's been poor all season. He's definitely been poor since the restart, very disappointing again today. Doesn't bother running. There was a one point where Pickford was screaming at him just to run. The basics you expect from a player of his cost and obviously experience in the Premier League. Really poor. He complains about playing in a flat midfield in the 4-4-2 where he has to play centre midfield. He's been given a chance to go into number 10 here, his favoured kind of central attack midfield role, and he's done absolutely nothing yet again. So obviously another potential position where we have to strengthen. Obviously central midfield is a massive problem. Going in, probably my man of the match before he subbed off Keane. I thought every time we went forwards, kind of all our attacking play, all our chances were coming through him. He held the ball up well, he created chances, he turned on his man, which we haven't seen too much from Calvert-Lewin since the restart. Obviously he got taken off at one point for Calvert-Lewin, I think it was. Maybe ran out of legs, he hasn't played a full game. But obviously he gets his goal, I was very happy for him. If there was anyone in the team that was going to deserve a goal from this performance, it was going to be him. Exciting going forwards. He is a skillful player, and hopefully we can definitely see that more going into next season. Struggled this season, but Ancelotti does think that he does have potential. I think he will be staying at the club. Plenty of rumours that he might be leaving, but I highly doubt that. Ancelotti seems to like him a lot. He's given him his chance here. He's done well today in a disappointing performance for the rest of the team. So hopefully he can kick on next season and potentially keep his place in the team and see how he works in a 4-4-2. In terms of substitutions, I'm not going to rate all of them because, most 3 of them weren't on for very long. Anthony Gordon, I'm going to give a 6 just because he runs forwards. He looks like a good attacking player, but obviously in a team where we are void of anyone running forwards, really, apart from maybe Richarlison and Keane. He always looks to carry the ball forwards whenever he gets onto the ball. A ray of sunshine almost on that right wing when he came on, because obviously Walcott was really poor. And I'm going to give him a 6. He didn't really have a lot of time to influence the game that much, and we were awful going forwards, awful in the midfield, awful defensively. So he would have struggled to influence the game while he was on. Sidibe, probably, as I mentioned, his last ever game in an Everton shirt. I give him a 5. Didn't really do much. By the time we'd come on for Coleman, who was getting beaten easily by Josh King, Bournemouth had kind of relieved a lot of the pressure that was working so well for them in the first half, kind of looking more to cement a result, a win that they desperately needed. Obviously, didn't really work out for them in the end, though, with Villa getting a point away to West Ham. But Sidibe came on, didn't really have to do much, but obviously he kind of got quite easily bypassed. For the Stanislas goal, he was kind of held off by Josh King and then allowed Stanislas to just walk in and then hit it through Pickford's hands. I'll give him a 5. Nothing special. That's kind of how he's been all season, really. He's been a very much hit and miss player. Tried him in a couple of different positions, right back, right midfield. Not really worked. Definitely going to have to look to invest in a right back at some point. We'll have to see what John Joe Kenny does when he comes back from his loan now, obviously next season. Sidibe obviously leaving now. Okay, nothing special, nothing really to write home about, but not a brilliant player. Not a bad deal in the end, obviously a loan deal, but I wouldn't look to make it permanent. Calvert-Lewin, once he came on, he did absolutely nothing, as kind of it has been throughout the whole restart. Bernard struggled. I think he struggled kind of all season, really. He's kind of dropped off the pace massively. He's exposed when he's further back in a 4-4-2. I think if he's in a 4-2-3-1, he can influence the game more, because he has no kind of defensive presence. Obviously, we all know he's absolutely tiny. He can't really win a header, can't really put in a challenge or track back to protect Denier. So I'm not going to rate those two. And obviously, Leighton Baines, absolutely brilliant. Could have left for the money, could have left for the big, could have gone on to win major trophies with other clubs like Manchester United. But he didn't. He stayed at Everton. A player that was massive for me growing up. Obviously, kind of defined what's been a disappointing era, really, for the club. One of the last that's been left of kind of David Moyes', not big spenders, but always fought for the shirt. Players, like Seamus Coleman was. Obviously, Coleman's kind of dropped off a bit, but Leighton Baines, I mean, what can I say? An absolutely brilliant player. Obviously, he came on, didn't look off the pace, really put in a brilliant challenge on Callum Wilson to protect what was 2-1 at that point, so we could have actually got back into the game. So disappointing for him to kind of be sent off in this game. I hope he might stay on in some sort of coaching capacity. I'm not sure if that's going to interest him that much, but Ancelotti seems to think there's a role open for him if he does stay. But obviously, I couldn't really end this video without mentioning him. An Everton legend, in my opinion. And I hope whatever he goes on to do, whether it's here or anywhere else, he does really well, because one of the few players left that has always seemed to care and has always seemed to want to play for Everton. But thank you very much to Leighton Baines. Basically, that's all I can really say from this video. Keane did very well. I really hope Leighton Baines stays. If he doesn't, as I mentioned, it'll be a massive loss, but also massive thanks to him for staying as long as he has. One of the few Everton players that have kind of been at Everton during their peak, which we haven't seen enough in recent years. So thank you very much for watching. Be sure to check out all our social media down below. It's been a long season. It's been a disappointing season. Not long really until the next season. Obviously, only 6 or 7 weeks I think it is. Quite an early start, especially considering how long this season's gone on for. Let's hope for a good pre-season, whatever there is of a pre-season, whether we'll play many games. And let's hope we make some good transfers. So thank you very much for your support on all the videos I've been in throughout the season. And again, thank you for joining us on the Toffee Blues, and goodbye.